Yeah, Jax, you have to get here early to get anything good. The singing amazing. It's different than Nixie singing. Yes, so am I. People decided to start talking about food. Now they just have to patiently wait until dinner later. Battles over the weekend always comes to food chat without fail. I can imagine. Could the hive mind be employed to select a smoothie flavor? Probably, yes. I'll have to talk to Ivan about that. Signal. Has the hive mind had any improvements recently? I think there have been some minor changes. Also, I haven't gotten a link for one this week, so I don't know if we'll be doing it that way or not. Maybe changing things up a little bit to keep things short for us doing company stuff. But who knows? I certainly don't. Define company stuff? Well, a large amount of us are in one place this week, so we'll see what comes of it. Many of them are listening in right now. It's entirely possible. Big ass kicker, not quite. You poke the hive might sing back. In that case, it's usually best not to touch. Just have to integrate directly into the hive mind. Made it just outside Area 51. No. Like, we're in San Francisco, we can say that much. Well, obviously, I'm not going to give away any identifying information or anything. Hello. And can't hear you.
Hello.
Can hear you now.
All right. Let me know when people are on.
It looks like we're about leveled up now.
All right. A bit of a weak voice today, so I'm gonna be a little quieter than usual. I'll try to be closer to the computer. So this is the weekly Midjourney office hours. We do them every week at Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Basically, what we do is we talk about what we're working on and what we're thinking about. We take questions, and that's pretty much it. So let's get started. This week, the whole team is pretty much out in San Francisco doing kind of a group company offsite. We're a remote company, so most people haven't met each other. So like once a year, we bring everyone together. Everyone meets each other. They're doing a little hackathon. Gonna do like a nature thing, and a lot of people are discussing projects too, obviously at the same time. But it's really great to see everyone in person. We'd love to get people in person more often, but that's kind of the biggest thing happening this week. It kind of blows the week productivity out, but I think there will be some new creative stuff coming out of it, so it's worth it. And people are humans and deserve to meet in person, and it's the important part of like having a company. So that's the main thing happening this week. There are other things going on because we are training lots of models. The I would say right now, the V7 training, there's like a lot of different individual components that we find that have bugs in them as we put it together. So now we're taking it back apart and we're retraining all the subcomponents, and then we'll put it back together and start the main training run again. So because the V7 model, the problem with V7 really is that it's like changing almost every single thing about the whole model at the same time. So, and any one part breaks, the whole thing doesn't really work. I think that's been the biggest mistake this year, is kind of like doing everything at once rather than just doing one release per part at a time. But the team was ambitious and wanted to do every single thing better. So it was kind of like, and everyone likes V6, so there wasn't a lot of pressure. So it's just sort of like every single thing is different. So finding lots of bugs, pulling things apart, fixing individual things, put it back together. That's kind of where V7 is. We definitely see a lot of little individual things working better. So, I'm very optimistic still about it. The main thing that's training right now, outside of that, is the video models. The video models look better every week. The team is very optimistic about it. I think the team is leaning towards like shipping a V6 video model before the V7 comes out. It'll kind of be an early model. Like, it can only be so good if it's built on top of V6 instead of V7, but we could use the V6 video model sort of like a pre-alpha and let people like collect data with it. So that's probably what's going to happen, but I mean, it's a little hard to say, but it's very possible that that happens. That thing, it gets better every week. I think the big question is like when we are happy enough with it to let people play with it. Like, how good does it have to be? Yeah, so hard to say, but we were playing with it and it's looking good all the time. I think right now the main thing is they're trying to decide whether they want it to like natively render at full resolution or if there should be like an upscaling process. So I think there's some debate about that. They're going to train a few versions and kind of get a sense of things. The other big thing going on is we are collecting 3D data every day now for the 3D model. I think after about a week of collecting 3D data, we'll have enough to start doing bigger 3D model tests. Um, sorry, I'm like kind of destroyed from all the talking and having a cold last week. But Yeah. So in theory, after about a week of training, of collecting data for video, we'll be able to train. So 3D, we'll be able to start training the 3D models. Um, then we'll start having more 3D results. I think it's very likely that the 3D model will either be an extension of the video model or a sort of independent model. Depending on that, it will either come before the video or after the video model. We're kind of debating. We're just going to try both and we'll see what we like. But I do anticipate that the 3D model will probably be released either before the video model or very shortly after the video. At this point, it looks like V7 will take the longest just because it's changing so many things. But I think it'll be worth it. There's already a lot of debate about V8 now for all things that are not making it into V7. So, we'll try to break up the releases in the future so that instead of like one big model that's totally different, there's sort of like more smaller releases more often. And so we're learning a lot of lessons around how the company should, I think, do many projects simultaneously, and how to get the team to be sort of self-managing around it rather than being sort of super like micromanaging every person every day. I think it's good that we kind of have like a big cohesive team that's independent, that like pursues a lot of things and kind of has good ground rules and is organized and can kind of just churn out a lot of different things. So, some of these things are kind of growing pains, but some of these things are kind of natural things to, as you go from like a bespoke event to like a more formal process, like release, like more normal, like a more rhythmic release process. So I think we're all very optimistic about all the models. We got some really good data related to all the psychometric stuff. So I thank you everyone for taking the surveys. If anyone wants to take a few more surveys, you still have like a few more. We'll probably send out one more message to people because it really is nice when we have the surveys for like when somebody has all the surveys. It's really nice for our data analysis. And we'll probably like publish some nice reports around where aesthetics come from and psychometrics, and then we'll um, actually we're probably going to have one more psychometric test. We're going to see if we can go from we'll see if we're gonna try to do like a visual personality test from this data, and then we'll say like, hey, can we actually tell people's personalities from like pictures? Like go the opposite. Uh, so we're trying as we if we actually successfully do understand the connection between aesthetics and personality, then we can show you pictures and we can figure out your personality, like how people describe you just from the pictures you pick, which would be kind of fun. So we'll see if we can do that. That'll probably be like the last big personality stuff, but we've also thought about actually having maybe one more personality thing where we let people just answer as many questions as they want. And they can just rack up GPU hours. We'll probably do that too, actually. So yeah, speaking of that, we'll have one more thing where you can like, if you like taking the personality question tests, you can just do it all day and just get more and more hours. So that'll help us do some more science. Yeah. um, and yeah, we'll show off. We'll start to show off more in the future about this. I'm pretty happy with it though. Um, I want to keep doing more hive mind things, but because people at the hackathon, I couldn't really boot up by myself today, so sorry we don't have that. But there's gonna be more cool stuff there. The storytelling team is preparing for the first kind of demos and interactive releases in the next few weeks, I think. So hopefully next few weeks they'll do like a session on here where they'll talk to everybody and show them things and maybe do a video, and then there'll be more I think they want to get like a few dozen people in at a time, and then they want to try a few hundred people in at a time to get a sense of where it breaks. I don't necessarily think the storytelling thing we release at first will necessarily be like a long-term product, but it's sort of like because it's pretty different than anything anyone's made before. So I think they want to like experiment with it and keep changing it all the time. So yeah, don't expect to like plop down and buy real estate on top of the storytelling tools, but I think they are really I think they'll be pretty fun and evolving over time. Um, and then we launched a little personalization website. Again, I'd really strongly emphasize that if you haven't used the personalization, go to the website and click personalization and try to set that up. We really want to see more people using personalized models. We're trying to make it faster to do personalization, but it's really challenging because it learns so much about you. The team is kind of constantly debating like the right way to sort of, we want to get to the point where everybody basically has a personalized model and that most people are using it by default. So that's kind of a big thing that we're trying to figure out, some combination of like messaging people versus making the flow easier versus like having it easy to explain it. Yeah, trying to figure out some combination of all those things. We've thought about trying to like change the creation flow so it kind of like does personalization more automatically, but it's really challenging to get it to work right. So I'm not re-summarizing. I'm sorry guys if you're late. You gotta check the notes later. I just can't repeat myself over and over again. I'll just record myself at some point. So I think we're gonna move towards changing these office hour things to having like a first phase where it's like more recorded and broadcasted, and then the Q&A thing might be more edited later, just to kind of make it cleaner. But yeah. The personalization definitely can work better in the future, but I think the main is like I think like 80% of people think the personalization is like 10x better. So I'm sorry if you fall on the 20%, but 80% is pretty good. It will get much better. Um, any other things? Hardware teams are gearing up. Definitely want more hardware people. Definitely need more front end people. A lot of cool secret projects. Yeah, we don't really know if V6 is going to have a video mode. We are training V6 video models right now, and they look better every day. So the question is going to come down to like, at what point do we feel like it is more helpful than hurtful to do it? You know? Because like we could keep making, because I think V7 is where the video models get really serious, but there's like a fun version, it might be, I don't know. We're kind of debating. Um, there's nothing really new coming for Niji right now. The team's not really working on more Niji models, so I think our goal is to kind of combine the models more in the future. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of editor stuff we're working on right now. We're probably gonna the new editor. So we're gonna also add the sort of image editor also hopefully in the next like like in this upcoming month, and then we'll probably like gate it so it's like more for the higher paying features, just because we find that like people with yearly subscriptions don't abuse the service as much, because if we ban them, they lose the yearly deposit. Like we find almost all the bannings happen for people who buy monthly subscriptions, and they buy the monthly subscription on purpose because they think they might get banned. So we might like require, I don't know, for like a standard or a pro yearly subscription or something, just to make it easier for us to moderate at the beginning and to have like less people trying to abuse it. It does feel a little bit like a pro 2 tool. It doesn't really feel like a $10 thing. Um, yeah, so we're trying to figure out exactly like it'll probably be like pro yearly only at the beginning, just to make it easier for us to watch the flow of images and make sure it's being used by more responsible people. There'll be a lot of moderation on it. Um, yeah, and but it's pretty cool. So I think the editor is probably the next big release. Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning. I think the editor is the next big release. Um, we kind of want to get the UI a little better, so I think it needs like 1 or 2 more weeks of UI testing. We want to like improve the selection a bit. We want to improve like the session management. There's like a lot of things about it that kind of feel a little bit weird again. Um, but it does work really well. So Yeah, I think the editor is probably the next big feature. What's after the editor? Um, we are going to have like mobile app and desktop versions of the website. I don't know when that's coming, but that might come after the editor. Um, yeah, we have like batch 8 stuff, but I'm not really happy like shoving batch 8 into the current UI. I kind of want to improve the UI for it. Um, yeah, I'm not rushing to batch 8. I don't know why. Like I use it a lot and I'm getting more used to it, but I think it just doesn't feel great in the UI. So I kind of want to like improve the UI for batch 8. But we could like we have the technical capacity to release batch 8 at any time. So um, yeah. Um, Mainly working on big projects like 3D video. We did a fast model today where somebody like hooked the model up to like a MIDI controller. That was pretty cool, like sliders. I don't think that's necessarily like the best interface, but we are having like earlier version, like faster and faster image models that we're playing with for the future. Um, so I mean, there's just a lot going on, to be honest. Sometimes I wish we were doing fewer things because we might go a little faster, but I don't think we'd go necessarily like radically faster. So, I think everybody will enjoy all the things. And this year's been, I think, like last year maybe we did too few things, and this year we're doing too many things, and we're kind of trying to find like a balance. But once each of the versions are released and some of these sort of higher, like the bigger milestones are passed, like I think things will smoothen out a lot. Um, yeah. Um, I feel like there's more, but I think all the other things are like the big secret projects, so we're not announcing any big secret projects yet. Um, yeah, not announcing any big secret projects yet, but there will be big secret projects. Um, I think that's about it. I will not do a super long thing today just because everybody's at the offsite in person, so I want to spend time with people that are at Midjourney. Like I spend time with the community spend time with the community every week, but there's people are only in person like once a year, so I think I will try to not go too long today. I do wish I could go longer. You can see my voice is a little weak in general, to be honest. But let's do a little quick lightning round Q&A under the VC text channel. So if people want to type any questions in VC text, I'll try to do a bit of a lightning round and just sort of answer questions for people. Yeah, I think V7 will be I think V7 should definitely be by end of year. Maybe, it takes like a month to train and then like 2 weeks to tune, and we're kind of like in the middle of the training. So I think if everything suddenly worked, we'd have it out in a month, but we keep hitting new things. So, we think keep changing things too. So it's been V7 has been way more bumpy than it should have been, but I think it was because we got greedy and we wanted to sort of improve, like replace everything simultaneously, rather than kind of taking one thing at a time. Um, yeah, there is a more advanced personalization thing we were thinking of releasing. We could release that. We'll consider releasing more advanced personalization in the next month too. We have it like basically ready, but um, I was gonna try to do the editor first. Hair ranking images are the same for everybody. If you could be any flower, what flower would you be? I don't know. I don't really have a favorite flowers. I like owls though. Yeah, I mean personalization definitely should be default on for everyone. I feel pretty strongly about that. Like almost everybody that I see who has personalization likes it a lot more. So there's a limit to how much we can make everyone happy without doing that. We're definitely looking for colorblind people still. I mean, I think more people who, yeah, we're kind of like the demographics things and the surveys are slowly building up more colorblind people. So it might have a colorblind mode at some point. That'd be cool. We're not working on URL weighting on the web right now. It's just kind of like an advanced feature. I don't know. I mean, we definitely could do. There's not that many people who do UI right now on the website, so we kind of can only work on like one or two UI things at a time on the website. So we definitely need more front end people on the website, but we're mostly back end people right now, I would say. Um, yeah, you definitely can see the improvement in personalization as you do more rating. I would definitely recommend people do more than like level 1. We're thinking of gating some of the higher moderation features to yearly memberships only. Because that way, if people like do something bad, we ban them, and basically it's like more of a punishment than if they just have like a $10 subscription, we ban them, they lose $10. So we're not more adding more features to the chat rooms right now. We're kind of watching the activity and hoping people use them more. But you know, if we don't see people using them more, we might try to focus more on other kinds of social things. We are going to try to improve the explore page a lot more still. I definitely see the explore page getting a lot better in the relatively near future. I guess I forgot to mention that. I'd like to try to announce more about secret projects before the end of the year, but it's hard to say what the timeline is. You can use different P codes, definitely. Yeah, when you edit non-Midjourney images, it will match the lighting. You can always turn off personalization. Um, I mean, moderation is hard, so we never do perfect. And you know, I think right now we're kind of in between, like in terms of moderation, we're somewhere in between like the open source stuff and the open AI. So we're trying really hard to give people more freedom than like a lot of the bigger labs are feel comfortable, you know, like they have like try to do, but then we don't just like say whatever. So you know, I think our level of moderation is sort of like we try our best. Yeah, and it'll definitely get better over time, but uh yeah, if all you want to do is like yeah, I don't know. That's it. Sorry, we're an American company. In America, people are scared of boobs. So, like, we have to respect the sort of like American cultural fear of boobs. But I mean, you know, that said, like most of that sort of fine nude art was, you know, built in places where women weren't allowed. So, was it really about art, or was it just like an early form of porn? You know, that's I think the challenge with a lot of these like nudity things is it's feels a lot of it's on like on the border. I don't know. Um, we always check people by hand before banning. Sometimes we mess up, but yeah, we've done some aphantasia studies. Aphantasia definitely doesn't change the images that much, but a little. We definitely want the personalization to, you know, be more diverse. We'll definitely improve that in the future. We changed the explore page algorithm recently to try to make the explore page more diverse. So it should have like, yeah, more diverse images. I don't know if that's always better, but yeah, the explore page is more diverse now. We're not currently planning on doing video to video, but maybe one day. Um, we're not currently changing the plans in the short term. We would like to change the plans at some point, but um, we just don't have, it's like changing the plans is a pretty big a pretty big change. So we would like to try to improve the plans, but I'm not sure if it's a thing where we're already doing too many things. So I think as we check things off, improving the plans is an area we definitely want to think about. But for now, we're probably going to try to change the plans as little as possible. Um, I think for editing external images, you always have to put in a prompt. I don't think no prompt works right now. I haven't tried that. Not sure. Yeah, text will definitely improve over time. Um, on Midjourney. We did a lot of surveys and we found that the users didn't really care enough about text to really focus on it. So we kind of, the way V6 is built, it just can't really do text well, like structurally. I think V7 definitely can do it better. Yeah, text isn't really hard. There's just like a trade-off between making the images look good and drawing like really precise text. And so text is very solvable. It's just we're trying in V7 to make it so it can just do everything. We'll see what happens. Need to find questions. If you guys are just talking in the channel, I can't see the questions. I think negative space is more about personalization. So maybe if you make sure you have personalization on, it'll use better negative space. Midjourney is more image to 3D or image to video. We're not going to do text to video or text to 3D right now. People are not using the same prompts. Prompts are pretty different. I think we almost always give people warnings before we ban them. I'm not sure. Ancient, is there like, I think, I want to say we always give warnings before banning people, maybe not. Sometimes when it's really bad.
Most of the time we give warnings unless it's egregious. And it has to be really bad for that.
Yeah, it definitely happens. I mean, like sometimes you see people and they're like, this person's obviously like crazy. Also, sometimes like we've banned people who like we get reports of like somebody might do something bad in the like if somebody is crazy in the real world, due to like if there's some like real world Midjourney connection, like we might ban them. Like yeah, I don't know. Like there's like weird they're like extenuating circumstances. Um, yeah, I mean I think like don't be a jerk, don't be crazy, like don't focus on porny, don't like be like I think the general rules are there, and if you need more specific rules, maybe you should like yeah, like if you want to push the boundaries, uh then you're taking the risk of getting banned. Sorry. Like, yeah. I mean, it's usually pretty obvious. Like, I think almost always what happens is that like your prompts get blocked, and then you kind of keep trying to get around the blocked prompts. It's like very obvious that like you are trying to be stopped to do something, and you keep doing it over and over again. So yeah. I don't think it's very. I don't think it's very. They'll be like, "What? Murder is illegal?" I thought this, like, kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Um, yeah, check the rules. Um, 360 images are possible. I think we're more likely just to go to 3D though. Like 360 images is like really niche, but 3D is more of like a long-term thing. Um, Midjourney has a focus on beauty versus meaningful or artistic. I mean, it's just very subjective. I think there's definitely a thing as like objective and subjective beauty, and we definitely go for that. But I think in terms of like objective and subjective meaning in art, uh, um, I think it's worth like having somebody who focuses on beauty in the world. I think that the world is like a lot of people kind of just focus on like shock value, emotion, attention. I don't know, like anger, but I think beauty is something that's like weirdly not focused on enough of. I think beauty itself has like a artistic and meaning, like a meaning, like as a meaning and has like an artistic value, but I'm not sure what like optimizing it for like specifically for meaning would be interesting. I don't know what that would do. I think art, like the word, I don't know. I'm not like I just say it's like Midjourney's not about art, it's about imagination, and you can use your imagination for art or not, and that's about intention. It's kind of up to you. But it's very much like not specifically an art tool. The personalization of the 3D in video will be like image to video and image to 3D, so it should kind of just like automatically the personalization itself should automatically go there. The storytelling tools don't have different image abilities. It's more of like doing this like something that works with the current image stuff better. And we have a hide button, and the hide button's pretty good. Um, yeah, if we ever allowed nudity, we definitely would have a lot of more rules about that, but I'm not thinking very much about like more nudity on the platform. I think very likely there'll be better moderation and like yeah. You're gonna see less boobs before you see more boobs. Sorry, guys. Um, okay. Um, Sounds like people mostly are done with their questions. Any last questions, guys? Definitely think about free tiers, but we're um, still trying to, it's like not probably not the first thing, right? It's like probably not quite ready for that yet. I don't think we're adding this sort of like specific optical illusions to the system. Um, yeah, the AR glasses are cool. It's hard to say because like I'm not sure if they actually gave out any real like stats on it, but um, but yeah, like I think a lot of the big tech companies really struggle to make products, so um, it's kind of disappointing to me, but well, the startups will rise again and will build great products, both hardware and software. It may take a few years, but I think we're definitely seeing like a new age of startups that will be really great. We don't specifically censor words. There's like a language model that tries to read the whole prompt and get a sense of whether it might be bad or not. So Yeah. Um, if there was some way to like only make sure that the like obviously when people have nude people in art school, it's like under controlled situations, right? You don't just get to like poke the nude person, right? So I think the challenge here is to, if we ever did that, to try to figure out the right sort of controls for it. But it's not something I like, get up and think about every day. Like, oh my God, how can I make it easier to have nudity? Like, I don't mean in like a bad way. I just like I don't care. Like, there are important things to work on in the world, and we gotta move beyond nudity to solve the problems of the world. So and definitely trying to focus our attention on the biggest impacts and the biggest problems we can work on. So there'll be bigger and bigger and more interesting things, and it'll be exciting. So I think everyone's very excited right now about all the projects going on. We will let people have more personalization and more style stuff in the future. All right, I think that might be it for the day, unless there's any last questions. I'll do a quick summary maybe just to we're doing an offsite this week, so not a lot going on. We are training video models. They're looking better every day. We might do a V6 video model that won't be as good as the V7 one, but might help us collect data. The 3D data is being collected regularly, and the 3D model will probably start training in a week or two. We don't know if 3D model will come out before or after the video because the 3D model may want to use the video model. We're kind of debating about this. But the video model and the 3D model should come out roughly. I'd be surprised if they, weren't both out relatively, like either like I'd be surprised if the 3D thing came out way after the video. It should be probably before or around the same time. I think that the image editor is the biggest feature being released in the short term, where you can edit images in Midjourney. It'll probably be locked to a higher tier with maybe a yearly subscription just to make it easier for us to moderate it at first. It also kind of feels like a pro feature in general. We are looking at doing more personalization profiles too. So there'll be more advanced personalization features. We do want to get the personalization easier to onboard people onto. We want more people to use it before we add the advanced features, but we are definitely seeing more people using it with the new website. So that's definitely good. So very optimistic about that. Um, all right, so I think that might be it for the day. Definitely get your personalization going. Hope everybody's having fun. Honestly, with I just I'm I have a lot of fun using Midjourney. Like kind of just constantly. Like I don't know. Like it's weird. I feel like I still use Midjourney as much or more than ever before, just for fun. There's been a lot of really cool stuff on the Explorer lately. I think we're gonna be able to make the Explorer way better too. So I'm pretty excited about that. Like people are making a lot of great stuff, and it's actually hard to see it even now. Like there's a lot of things being missed. So I hope everybody's having fun. Hope everybody has a nice week. We're gonna work really hard next week to try to get more of these major things out there. And yeah, thank you for being a part of this community. And see you soon. Thanks, everyone.